Hello everybody, welcome back to Emergency Preparedness UK. Today's video we're going to be having a look at Altoid Survival Tin, why I have it, what's in it and why that stuff's in there. Firstly, I'd just like to say I really apologise for being away for a while. Thank you so much for 150 subscribers and 990 views. I've been really busy with work, so that's why I haven't been getting involved making videos, but I just want to say thank you for the patience. Cheers for carrying on watching. So, why do you need a survival tin? Personally, for me, the reason I have this tin is when I'm out and about walking and I've got my bag, I just keep this in my cargo pocket in case, for whatever reason, I have to leave my bag or leave my supplies or leave my camp in a hurry. Effectively, the purpose of this kit is to allow for you to sustain yourself for a period of time whilst you're out and about if you don't have your core kit with you. Let's have a quick look at what we've got on the outside first. Starting off, you can see it's bound in tape. This just gives us a bit of extra tape, keeps everything secure, stops it from falling apart. You can also use rubber bands if you like, that would work just as well. Let's open this up. I do use Gorilla Tape on these because it's quite strong. Okay, so starting off on the outside here, I've got a tinfoil blanket. This can go on the inside. I prefer to keep it on the outside so it's a bit more accessible. You don't have to pull little things out and start making a mess. Effectively, it's just to keep your insulation in, keep your heat up. If you get injured or anything like that, you can put it over yourself and await rescue. It also helps with visibility. You know, it's reflective. It's made of mylar. You know how much I love mylar, so you know it's just fitting that I put one of those in here. Apologies for the battle rattle. Okay, got a mirror. This can be used for signalling, checking yourself out for ticks, fleas, leeches, whatever, and just generally looking at yourself, making sure, you know, if you're doing any grooming, that you're getting the right places. Got a nice little picture of a badger on this one. I believe this tin was about £4 or £5 from my local tobacco shop. I went in, you know, it was a case of they're brand new, buy one for £5, and they tend to last a while. They're quite rugged. They're pretty decent for what they are for the money. Okay then. First thing you'll notice is it looks like a mess in here. That's because it's not meant to be pretty. It's just meant to work for what I need it to. There are lots of things in here that can help, given the fact that you might not have your kit on you. Firstly, got some pain meds. So I've got some paracetamol here. Looks like it's been used by me on one of my outings. Got some chewing gum. I like bringing chewing gum with me simply because it's something that can keep your mind occupied. So if you're hungry, something like that, you can just chew on the chewing gum. It makes you feel a little bit more satiated. It can also help with your dental hygiene as well. Okay then, we have got some, so these are the Imodium tablets. So the worst thing that can happen when you're out and about is you're on a hike, you get separated from your kit, you may have some dodgy water, and you end up with Batista's revenge, diarrhea, effectively. It's never good, So I keep some Imodium in there to keep you hydrated, keep your liquids inside of you, and stop you from effectively putting yourself in a worse medical condition than you might already be in. Okay then. Off that goes. In here I've got one of these Bear Grylls survival sheets. Comes from, I believe, the water bottle that I bought years and years and years ago. Effectively what it has on it is just some basic survival information to allow you to make fires, aiding with rescue, navigation, shelter building. I don't think you can get these separately anymore, but I just find it useful to have. I've had it for years. Yeah, there you go, you've got some knots on there, bit of nav, purification of water. I just find it quite useful to have as a reference point in case I need it. There we go. Okay then, moving on. Got some char cloth in here. Now for those of you that don't know, char cloth is incredible for starting fires. It'll catch an ember and it will hold onto that ember as you stoke it. It will effectively just allow for that flame to last that bit longer for if you're trying to start a fire. Really good sort of tinder. I think it's useful to have in there just in case. And I'll make a video at some point on making char cloth and effectively other methods of fire lighting. Okay then. This is quite a good part of the kit. We have a mini sewing kit. Okay, so what we've got here, we've got some buttons, you know, in case something falls off your jacket. That's not too big of an inconvenience. However, in a worst case scenario, you can use this to suture yourself and close a wound if you don't have the appropriate methods to do so. Additionally, I've put a small pair of tweezers in here, which are really good for getting rid of ticks and any other bugs that might attach themselves to you, wasp stingers, things like that. Additionally, it means that you can actually fix your clothing should you get a rip, should you get a tear, something that overall degrades the quality of it and can increase your susceptibility to the cold. Okay, so that's the mini sewing kit. With most of these things, I've wrapped them in tape simply because it gives you extra tape. I mean, Gorilla Tape can itself be used as a fire starter, can be used to close small wounds, can be used for all sorts of things, to secure things. Personally, I think you can't have enough of it. So that's the sewing kit. Okay then. Okay, so in this part of the fishing kit, we've got some swivels. In this case, you can see that the Gorilla Tape is very well doing its job. Bit of a pain to get into, but I suppose if you're lost somewhere or you really need it, it's not that big of an inconvenience. At least you have it if you don't need it. There we go, we've got more swivels in here. And there we go, we have some hooks. Now this isn't the only part of the fishing kit. These are just the bits that are brass and the parts that potentially you might want to hang on to, not get lost. So that's stage 2 of the fishing kit. Here we have stage 1. Now you want to be careful when you're unravelling this, because I can tell you for a fact it's got hooks in it. You really don't want to be getting caught on that. Got loads of fishing line in here. Effectively that just allows for you to be able to actually have something to fish off of. You don't have to waste your paracord, you don't have to bring loads of it with you. So I have that. There's a little hook on the back of it. I'm not going to undo it because knowing me I will stab myself. That just rolls up nicely. So that together is the fishing kit. Moving on now. Of course, we have to have a roll of tape. This is just Gorilla Tape that I've got a toilet paper tube and rolled it over a little bit and effectively just coiled it over that. Makes a smaller roll. It means that you don't have to waste your space on the empty gaps that they have in the middle. I think there's a good couple meters in here. Last time I checked, yeah, it was about around about 5 meters. The tape, really useful stuff. Got lots of char cloth hanging around here. Tends to fall apart. Okay, up next. We have a small signalling whistle. This one came off one of those paracord bracelets that you can buy on Amazon. It's a good bit of kit. It makes enough noise. Effectively, you just want to allow people to know where you are if you need to be found. If you're in a real pinch, you know, you've gone out hiking, you've gotten lost, this can be the difference between you getting found and you not getting found. Effectively, all we do is put your lips on it. I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs, you know how to use a whistle. That noise was just me blowing gently. So if you're actually doing it hard, you should attract enough attention to actually get the help that you might need. Moving on. We have a small open L knife. There we go. This one here is legal to carry in the UK as an everyday carry. It's a non-locking knife. Folds, the blade's under 3 inches long. And there are no aggressive or scary looking bits for the government to be scared of. Personally, I really like having this little knife in it. It just gives you more flexibility than some of these small, weird multi-tools that, you know, aren't really made of the best parts, and they're so small and convoluted that they just tend to break. Open L knives are brilliant. Very, very well-renowned brand in the UK. Lots of people use them. And personally, I've had this knife for quite a while now. Used it a couple of times, and yeah, it's been absolutely fine. Secondary to the sewing kit that I mentioned earlier, it's a very small pair of scissors. Now they look comedic, they look funny, but they work. Yeah, so if you've got, I don't know, a small bit of skin from a blister that you need to cut off, or you're finished sewing up all of your stuff and you need to cut off the string, just use these. You will know how to use scissors. Moving on. We have a tiny flashlight. Now this was a gift from my partner. It was a key ring that she bought me, and I just took the ring off of it and thought that's the perfect size to put in here. However, you can get long, thin flashlights that you could also put in here if you do choose. It's just I know for a fact that I wouldn't really use it as often. Just unscrews here. You can see the batteries going here. This is the actual housing. That's all you do. You just screw it together and you have a decently bright light. When you've got nothing else, that will be absolutely perfectly adequate. Okay. Probably one of the most important is your water purification tablets. There's a set of 12 in here. Each of these can purify around about 1 litre of water. That hopefully will give you enough water to get rescued or just complete your trip if you're just using it for the fun of it, which I will be doing a video on at some point. These are the Oasis ones, I believe. Sorry, cancel that. Life Systems water purification tablets. Really useful. Obviously you can survive 3 weeks without food. You can only survive 3 days without water. So if you're wanting to avoid all of the nasty bacteria that you can be found in your local streams, I'd recommend getting some of these. Secondary to the medication is Diorolite. This contains electrolytes and it helps to rehydrate your body when you may not have had enough water, food and fluids. Personally, you know, everyone's had this when they were a kid. It's nasty, it's pretty horrible, but when you're in an emergency situation, it's probably the best thing you're going to get. Okay, staying on topic with medication, we have some small plasters here. Okay, so we've got 2 standard plasters. You know, they're really good for cuts, scrapes, bruises, anything nasty. We also have a slightly larger patch plaster. Okay, so this is about 2.5 inches long, about 2 inches, 2 inches wide. Personally, it's good for any injuries that you might sustain whilst you're out and about, bushcraft injuries. Say for example, you've just gone to cut a branch and you've sliced into your hand or your arm or something like that. Really good for that. That's why I keep these in it. Moving on to the hunting and gathering side of things. In here, I've got some slingshot ammunition. Now, the reason I've got this is 2 reasons. First of all, slingshots can be quite easily made. Standard slingshot style, David and Goliath style slingshots, you know, 2 ropes and a backing. They can be quite effective if you need them to be and if you make them properly. Additionally though, these act as fishing weights. So when you're fishing and you attach your line and everything and you want your hook to actually sink, you can use these as weights. Also on the topic of hunter-gathering is some wire. The reason I've got this is to make snares. Basically just putting them into a funnel area where animals might be and allowing for them to get themselves caught in this. One thing I would like to highlight is that with your wire you tend to want to use brass wire. Okay? Brass is very non-frictious, okay? So it can move along each other quite well on each side. It doesn't get stuck like some other wires. That's something that I need to change about this kit. This uses just regular wire, and I've noticed in the past that it has gotten stuck at vital times when it shouldn't have gotten stuck. Another side note on that is check your local laws on trapping and hunting, okay? Last thing you want to do is go out and about, you do some trapping, game warden or one of the environmental enforcement officers comes up and arrests you or writes you a hefty ticket for trapping or poaching, as they call it. So check your local laws, check here in the UK. If you're out in the States, you know, varies state by state. So just check with your local laws, make sure that you're actually allowed to do this. More char cloth here. That brings us into the fire lighting section of things. Okay then. So we've got the char cloth here. We've got a match, storm-proof match. I actually used these on my most recent trip. So there's usually about 5 or 6 of these in here. but now there isn't because I've just used it, so I thought I'd make a video on it because they are useful. And we have a striker. Okay, you don't actually need a striker for these, but it's useful to have one just in case. With the char cloth, I really should put it in a little bag or something because it does like to fall all over the place, but I'll do a demonstration on how to make this at some point. Effectively just holds the ember for you whilst you transfer it to a tinder source and allow for it to ignite. I'd just like to throw in a quick honourable mention. Went to my local branch of Lidl recently, doing the weekly shop, and I stumbled across this. I'm sure those of you with any sort of outdoor experience know what this is by now. It's a Multitool. I believe this was about £7. I thought, if you're new to going outdoors, which you might be if you're watching this video, provides a nice budget option for a multi-tool that you can bring with you. It's got a belt loop, so you can put it on your belt. That with this make a pretty perfect team. It's a bit stiff, but it was £7. Spring-loaded pliers, pretty excellent to be fair. Wire cutters in the middle. Got rulers here, centimetres and inches, which I suppose is useful if you're doing any measuring out there. It's got a safety system, which I quite like. Some people won't, but I do. Press this down, then you can pull out your tools. If you don't press that down, you can't get them out, which is really good to avoid those slips where things just fall out, especially if you've had a multi-tool for a few years. There we go. Got a saw, an auger, bottle opener, flathead screwdriver on this side. Let's see what we got on this side. I know for a fact we've got a knife. Got a file, useful for sharpening your kit or just making sure that you're grooming yourself. Got a regular Phillips head screwdriver along with another bottle opener. Another flathead screwdriver, just a bit smaller this time. Gotta be careful when getting this out, make sure I don't stab myself. And a small knife. There we go. Those are the tools that are on there. Personally, I think for around £7, yeah, good deal. I'll take that. It's better than nothing. You know, it's not exactly one of your Leathermans. I'm excited to get out and give this a test, see how it holds up in the real world. But yeah, that's effectively what I enjoy about it. So the two of these together would be the perfect kit. You know, you'd be really happy. One thing I would like to say with my fire lighting kit is, first of all, you can use lots of other natural firelighters that you find out in the field, crampball fungus, etc. Lots of kind of fungus. But I would also like to say that typically I have a lighter on me at all times. I'm a smoker, I know, filthy habit. However, there's usually a lighter inside this kit, and there's also a lighter in my pocket. I choose to have electric lighters because the flints don't really run out, and if you get them wet, you don't have to wait for a long time to reuse them. That is everything in my small kit. So, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Once again, I'd just really like to say thank you so much for 150 subs. If we can keep that going, that would be amazing. It's been a real boost of confidence seeing people enjoy the videos. Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.